I'm going to be reading the questions. She's going to be walking around and just raise your hand if you want to answer. It's kind of like a group thing. And she'll place the recorder in front of you and just kind of talk.
My name is Emily. If you want to have questions or whatever, and this is McKenna. Today is the 10th, and it is 9:30. So today you will participate in a group focus that gives all of you the opportunity in a comfortable and anonymous setting to have constructive feedback based on aspects of your experiences in the biology department. We are collecting this information rather than faculty so that you will be anonymous. Biology seniors, the department is interested in your feedback regarding your curriculum. We will use this information in evolving your future curriculum offerings / structure. We are interested that you will do well and that we can improve. So your voices are going to be recorded, but a student or a non-biased person is going to be writing down what you say at the end of this, and so no faculty can take your voice and notice who you are. So feel free to say anything. And this is not about professors, so please try not to bash your professors or anything like that.
It's about the classes.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first question is, were there any courses you wanted to take in the biology department but were unable?
So I guess just raise your hand if you have something to say.
There was a entomology course that is on the books, but they never actually offer it. They haven't for the last 4 years, so.
Other than the courses being full, why were you unable to take the courses?
You said what was that?
Oh. Why were you unable to take the courses other than them being full if there was one you weren't able to take?
Conflicting schedules.
Only offered once a year.
If the only gaps I have are on Friday, and most of the Friday classes are gone now, then I can't take the class.
A lot of biology classes were offered between 11 and 2 p.m., so not a lot of range per day.
Is that just a bad time as a student?
I mean, it sucks because there's a lot of classes that you have to take, and if you can only fit 2 or 3 in that time period, then you can't get a lot in.
Is there anything that would have made it easier for you to be able to take the courses? Kind of already said that. Question 2. Knowing what you know now, if Bio 124, Ecology and Evolution, was not a required course, would you take it? If not, why not? If so, why?
I'd still have taken it because it ended up teaching basic stuff that I use in a bunch of upper level courses.
I would have taken it because I'm in ecology concentration.
I would have taken it for the lab, but not for the lecture.
What did you not like about the lecture? Why was lab different?
Because the lab applied more. We did field research and didn't do that in any of my other biology courses.
Now recall your younger self when you were signing up for Bio 124, Ecology and Evolution. If it had not been a required course for the major, would you have taken it? If not, why not? If so, why? This is your younger self? Yeah.
This is before you took the class.
You took it.
I still probably would have taken it because since you're a biology major, you should probably have at least a little bit of ecology and evolution knowledge.
Would you all have known that before you took the class? Just as coming first years?
I don't remember what the
think so.
description was.
Depends what kind of background you had in biology when you were coming in.
Yeah.
You took a junior year?
I'm a transfer.
Okay.
A lot of these questions are similar. Knowing what you know now, if Bio 214, cell and molecular biology, was not a required course, would you take it? If not, why not? If so, why?
Get a lot of answers.
Can I get that on tape?
I'll say hell yeah. I actually like that course. It's very interesting. Fundamentals, like everything.
No, it was not what I was interested in.
Did you know that coming into Jamie?
Yes.
There's a big response when I ask the question. Okay. Now recall your younger self again when you were signing up for Bio 214 cell molecular biology. If it had not been a required course for the major, would you have taken it? If not, why not? If so, why?
I'd have taken it just because I knew I wanted to do microbiology type stuff, but it was still a really messy lab.
Yeah, what about the lab? Does anyone have any opinions about the lab?
Can we all agree that lab book is horrible?
Yeah.
It's like
That
the
was
worst
so
lab book
confusing.
ever.
The lab book needs some rewriting.
Like, it's hard because I know they worked really hard on it.
Yeah.
I've heard about the creation process of that thing. It wasn't easy.
But yeah, I mean, I'm a past instructor for that course right now, and like that's what I'm doing tonight is trying to explain one of their 5-week lab because it like confuses half the students and people get through it and they don't even know what happened. Like that obviously is not a win. Like, well, yeah, it's not a win.
I would have taken it just because it's like somewhat familiar from high school. So like getting those college classes that are somewhat familiar and had a base in was important the first couple of years.
Anyone else? Just so you know, we have to stay till 10:15, so it goes faster if you talk.
Yeah. Might as
So,
well put your
yeah.
input in.
Don't be shy. We won't tell anyone.
Well, it's on record, but.
Well, we won't tell it to staff. Okay. Knowing what you know now, if Bio 224 Genetics and Development was not a required course, would you take it? If not, why not? If so, why?
Yes.
Why?
I really like genetics and I find it interesting.
Why would you have taken it?
I mean, I wouldn't have known what to do in things like viral discovery or whatever if I hadn't known basic genetics. You have to know basic genetics, you're a biologist. Sorry.
Anyone have differing opinions? Yes.
Yes, because even though the fly lab was hard, it still helped me understand the material better for lecture.
I probably would have taken the lecture, but the fly lab was just, it was kind of ridiculous. I don't feel like I got a lot from it.
I don't feel like it needed to be the entire semester. Like I've done fly labs before in community college, and it was like a couple weeks, and it was perfectly fine. It was enough information for me to understand, but it did not need to be an entire semester long worth of fly thing. We should have done the wingless mutation for the fly lab.
Cutting off the wings.
Oh, I heard there is a wingless. Oh, I heard there is a wingless mutation, and they give it to the instructors because it's easier for them.
It's not fair.
Once again, recall your younger self when you were signing up for Bio 224, Genetics and Development. If it had not been a required course for the major, would you have taken it? If not, why not? If so, why?
Did you all learn about genetics in high school?
Yes.
Yeah, we did Punnett squares. Punnett squares.
Punnett squares.
Real basic stuff.
Yeah. Epigenetics, not a thing. Did not exist.
Did the college genetics course increase your knowledge about it?
Yes.
I hear
Those
see a lot of nods.
noddings,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Question number 5. Which semester did you take Bio 224 Genetics and Development? Just so you know, every student has to answer this, so just walk around.
Starting with you.
Oh, wait. If you did not take it by the first semester of your junior year, then what was the reason?
I took it fourth semester.
Fourth semester.
Third semester.
Fourth. First semester of junior year.
This semester.
Hey guys, be quiet, please.
The first semester junior year.
Fourth semester.
Fourth. Second semester junior year. Transfers, guys.
Okay.
Second semester junior year scheduling.
I think fourth semester.
Here, I'm a transfer student.
Auburn University.
Fourth semester.
Fourth semester.
Second semester senior year because I transferred.
Third semester. Fourth semester.
Second semester of senior year because I transferred.
One goal of the core curriculum is to teach students how to write scientifically. Do you think this was effective? Comment on the effectiveness of specific core courses in teaching writing.
Bio 226 should be required because that's where I learned the most about writing, and it's an optional course.
What's 226?
It's like introduction to research.
Hi.
Yeah,
That's fine.
chemistry is much worse about this than we are, so they should get the brunt of this. But like the arbitrary rules in writing papers that don't necessarily apply to actual articles, but yet are just kind of like, I hate to use the word, but anal sort of stipulations that your grade is based on, need to get rid of those. Those are just in the way, and they're not actually in the literature. Like they're just, you know, your professor's little pet peeves. So that gets in the way of teaching science writing. But chemistry is worse about that than we are.
I really didn't learn how to do science writing until I did independent research with the professor and the faculty. I didn't really learn it for classes because it was all just little tiny rubric-y stuff. And, you know, when you're actually submitting to a journal, you don't have that rubric in front of you. You just have to be a good, effective communicator.
Any more comments? Okay. Did your upper level courses continue to emphasize scientific writing? If so, what kind of writing assignments did you complete in particular courses? For example, a research paper, a scientific proposal, essay exams. And comment on the usefulness of these assignments.
Dr. Renfro's plant cell and tissue culture course was amazing in that regard. We just spent the entire semester just designing experiments and writing papers. And that's what we did. That was a good 400 level course.
There was the avian ecology course that we did with George Mason University, and we had to do an entire species write-up and like an entire review of everything ever written about your species of bird, and that was a really good experience.
Is anyone in a research lab and has had to write a research paper for that? Proposal or anything? Go ahead, nods. Okay. Last question. So we have a long time to complete this question if everyone wants to say something. What advice would you give to an incoming biology major about academics at JMU? Sorry. What advice would you give an incoming biology major about academics at JMU?
Don't get behind in math or chemistry, because if you get behind on the cognites, it'll end up wrecking your major schedule, and you'll be playing catch up for the rest of your career.
I was a transfer, and if you transfer here and you have to take physics, chemistry, and the math requirements all in the same semester, it really just screws up your GPA. It'll mess up your brain. So don't do that. You can't really help it though, because that's how they transfer. So, but yeah, don't do it.
Anyone from this table? You guys haven't been very talkative on this side.
To sign up with research with a faculty member in the bio department.
Okay. How has signing up with research benefit you if you are in a research lab as a biology major?
A lot of the skills that I've learned in like my core classes, like I've been able to keep up until my senior year by doing independent research with a professor. So I think it's very smart to get involved with that as early as possible, and especially for freshmen to get involved in the Trelawney learning community.
If nothing else, it's a good resume booster.
What is research?
Yes.
Okay.
Just being able to say you did research.
It's probably a little underrated, but the connections you get from doing research with professors and, you know, the actual recommendations that you can get if you're looking to go to grad school, it really is a lot of it about who you know. As much as we would like it to be merit-based, it's also about who you know.
Are any of you not in a research lab and feel like the professors you've met just through class have been good for connections, recommendations? Head nod. Would you like to elaborate a little bit?
I mean, sure. I'm not in a research lab, and I still think that like the one-on-one time the professors give via office hours and stuff like that still taught me a lot. And then I never really had an interest to do the research side of things. That's why I didn't. But I was never treated any differently because of it.
How about office hours as a first year? Did any of you guys actually take advantage of that, or do you regret doing that? Do you take advantage of them now? No? Okay. Anyone else? I mean, I was timid of professors going in. I don't know if anyone else was. But I want to say last one. Well, we still have about 25 minutes. Anyone else?
Everyone on your advice question that kind of went by too fast.
Yep, go for it.
To read the primary literature, like they're really bad at like have you ever noticed that if you put a professor out of his comfort zone and throw him a paper that's not from his field, he'll be confused. And students think they're like, people are throwing me research papers from all over the place and I'm confused. Well, of course you're confused. People with PhDs would be confused. They choose a focus. So like the best thing to do is see what students are specifically interested in and say, oh, here's a journal that talks just about that. And be like, read from that journal, and after 4 or 5 papers, magically you're not confused anymore. And that's where like the professors are. They're not mega geniuses. They've just chosen this place to focus on. I think there's a misunderstanding there about the literature. People think it's a barrier, but it's really not. It's a barrier because they try to make students read papers from every part of the entire discipline, which is like huge, and no single brain can encompass it.
Maybe like don't get so frustrated your freshman year by like reading scientific literature, because it's like extremely like scary to look at and it's super long and there's so many terms that you don't know. But I read a research paper my freshman year with my research professor, and then I was able to reread that paper a couple weeks ago, and it seems so easy now. Like, I mean, it takes a long time. I mean, it took me like 3 years to basically like be able to read that paper and explain it to somebody else. So like freshman year, like you don't know a lot of the terms and like the papers are extremely long, but to not get frustrated, because like eventually like it'll seem a lot easier taking more classes and knowing more of the terms and how the literature like works throughout the paper.
Did anyone know exactly what they wanted to do when they grew up coming in to freshman year?
Are there any classes you took that helped to narrow that field? saw a head nod.
Would you like to elaborate? You don't have
Yeah,
to.
sure.
Okay.
It was like when I came in, I didn't really know exactly what field of biology I wanted to work with, but taking cell and genetics kind of helped me narrow my focus and what my interest is. And then especially in taking a lot of the upper level classes, it's helped me narrow my focus more and more. And now I'm pretty sure, finally, my senior year, what I want to do.
I came in pre-med, hated 114 with everything in me. Took 124 and fell in love with it, so that drastically changed my direction.
Anyone else would like to elaborate on that?
I feel like everybody should take biology 203, discovering biology, because that's where I learned a lot of my lab skills. Like, even in my core classes, they went over basic lab stuff, but biology was all about doing your own lab. It was like having a lab research class, but it was a class instead of actual research. And it was really cool, and it was a lot of fun.
Are you talking about viral discovery?
Yeah,
Same,
yeah. It was
same,
awesome.
100%.
And I think that would be a really cool class because it was fun and it wasn't demanding and it was cool, and it really put like this is what research is like. It's not going to be 100% perfect. You might not get something every single time, but that's okay because you're just going to keep trying, and you're not going to fail because you know, if you don't show up to class, you'll fail. But show up to class, have fun, and like you'll do well. So.
I know that class is very new. So everyone that you've talked to about it has had good reviews, or has there been anything negative about it?
Yeah, a lot of people really like that class because of that, because it's a sort of free form, not stick to a syllabus, just, you know, discover a virus, and it's fun because you get to discover something and name it and look at it and, you know, grow it, and that's cool. Like, and I think it's a really good skill to have. Not just viruses, even if you're not interested in viruses, but it's a good skill to go out in the field, discover something, name it, or look for it, research it, you know. So I think that's a really good skill to have. It's a good class.
Yeah. And if there's any way that you can try to take the second half of it too, I mean, learning how to use that programming is confusing, and we're going slow. I'm in the class this year, but it's very valuable. It's a very valuable experience.
Okay, so I know that I'm personally not very interested in microbiology, genetics, things like that. Is there any classes that are more animal-based that anyone is interested in that you wish were a core class?
No, I couldn't do. I was gonna say insect ecology, but there's too many people that like have big phobias of different things. I don't think that would be nice to make kids do it, but.
I think animal field biology that's offered in the summer. That'd be an awesome class to have not in the summer, so more people could take it.
You taken that class?
Yeah, I've taken that class. There wasn't a lot of, even though it's a lab course, they didn't really do a lot. We didn't do a lot of field lab stuff, which would have been nicer if we had gone out more and done more field lab stuff. But the information was not cell and molecular at all.
Is there anything about the core curriculum that you would want to change? Labs or lecture, like anything added? Or I know there's 4 core classes that you have to take before you can really go into your upper levels.
Before we get to you, is there anyone else that hasn't really talked a whole lot that wants
yeah.
to say anything on this side of the room?
Yeah. Newcomer.
I don't want to hog the mic.
No, do it.
Yeah, with transfer students it's difficult because JMU, 3 core biologies. Everyone else on planet Earth, 2. So everyone else on planet Earth, when they come to JMU, oh, sorry, you get to retake all your biologies because we do 3 where you do 2, even though you're covering basically the same things, doing it in a different manner. And often, like, other universities will make evolution and ecology like an upper level course instead of like cramming it into like the lower level bios. but everyone that comes in and transfers gets kind of caught in that web for the most part. I had like so many transfer credits that I was able to like bash them over the head with my transfer credits and get them to like let me through, but pretty much everyone else gets caught in that web, and it's not good for transfer students.
I think that the transfer credit acceptance needs to be looked at a little more, and it needs to be easier for transfer students to graduate on time. Because if you get off by one class, you won't graduate on time unless you take summer classes.
I think the transfer needs to be looked at, especially for biotech students. I was a biotech student before I became biology, and one of the biggest reasons I switched is because I was going to have to take 19 credits every semester until I graduated, and especially once you get to the upper levels, that's a huge load, especially taking with independent research. So it's like I switched because it was just, I was going to be here another year if I decided to just reduce the course load.
Come on, you had something to say. You can't hide.
No comment.
All right.
I was going to say, I think for transfers there should be combined classes, because I feel like 114 and 124 really could have been the same class, especially for transfer students. Like, if you've already had experience in biology, you probably know that stuff, and I don't think there should be a point in splitting those up. 214 and 224 definitely should not be together, because that would be the hellish class ever. But I think that 124 and 114 would benefit from having a transfer section or a, I don't know, pre-test or something that you could take to get into it, like calculus or something like that. I don't know.
There kind of needs to be a bigger focus on requiring kids to actually learn biostatistics, because no matter what field you're going to go into, you're going to collect data and you're going to need to be able to process it. And the only biostatistics course that we really have is biometrics, and like, good luck getting into that before your senior year. Good luck knowing what to do with that before your senior year. You know, we have 2 semesters of calculus and 1 semester of statistics required as one of our cognates, and that's a little backwards to me, because we're not going to be doing calculus with our data. We're going to be doing statistics, you know.
Yeah, I just want to back that up a little bit. I took the calculus and one of the statistics, and I don't feel like I ever really used the calculus. I mean, outside of basic algebra that I learned like in high school. And the statistics class was actually really helpful. So I agree. Statistics should be emphasized over calculus.
What about all the chemistries that we have to take and the physics? And I know there's some strong opinions about that.
I'm sorry.
Say that again?
I don't want to be brutal, but no one has learned anything from physics that they have applied to bio. No one that I have ever heard. I'm sure there's someone out there somewhere, but it's not me and it's not anyone I know.
I think only the first semesters of each should be required. First semester of calculus, first semester of physics, first semester of organic, first semester, maybe Gen Chem, but otherwise, there's no need to go on to the second one. I've never used anything. The only class that I used math in was 124, and we went over the formula in that class, and then we used it. So it wasn't like it was a mystery.
I think like one of the biggest things is I've talked to like my research advisor and everything, and if I ask her anything about chemistry, she does not know anything about chemistry. And it's one of those, like, we chose biology for a reason. If we need help with chemistry, we'll consult someone who knows chemistry better than us in our general knowledge.
I definitely think we need at least 1 semester of physics. I'm not sure about 2. I'm sure some people's second semester is more helpful than others, but for a lot of us, 2 doesn't seem entirely needed. Chemistry, I can definitely see both semesters Gen Chem being used and 1 semester of organic maybe. because I mean, obviously the physics drives the chemistry drives the biology. Without those two, there is no biology. But do we necessarily need to be experts on it? Maybe not, but definitely need a working knowledge of both.
I feel like it really did make me angry sometimes because I have spent so much more time most semesters struggling with, chemistry, physics, math cognates than I ever did with my major classes. And if I had taken that time and put it back into my major classes, that would have been so important, That would have, I could have been a better actual scientist rather than just a student losing sleep over not being able to finish everything.
Lots of head nods.
Sort of going off what she said, I mean, I think it's very integrated, like all science is integrated, so we should know the physics and the chemistry, but it's taught in a rote manner. Like I just had some friends come out of a physics exam and it was multiple choice. That really gets in my head. Physics multiple choice exam. That's like my inner science elitist is just like raging over that. But like
No one knows what's going on.
No.
yeah, exactly, and
No
that's
one
the
has
thing.
any idea what's going on.
And I walk up to someone and I say the cell membrane is a capacitor, and they look at me like I walked out of a spaceship from Mars. And like anyone who knows basic physics should be like, oh yeah, it's like a capacitor. But like we haven't been taught physics in that intuitive way so that we can apply it, or most of us haven't. Or if we have, we got it on our own.
We have it on paper, but not in our heads. Definitely.
Are there any study hints you would pass down to incoming freshmen that you wish you had done knowing as a freshman?
Anyone on that side of the room? Any opinions over here on studying?
Let him talk.
You can do it.
I guess just stay ahead of the game early if you fall behind.
Be quiet, please.
Just stay ahead of the game early. If you fall behind, it's kind of hard to bring your GPA back up.
It's all yours.
Just don't be prideful. Go to SMLC when you need help. It's not about like, oh, I'm dumb, I have to go to SMLC. No, it's just like you don't know this thing. It's the first time you're doing it, so just go. Just go.
What about all-nighters? Anyone have any opinion? Are they awful? Are they great?
Sometimes happens. It sometimes happens, but it's never good. It's all gonna disassociate and go away. We won't remember in the long term.
I've heard someone say that they kind of have to.
Yeah.
It happens.
If the pace that you work at is not fast, then there physically will not be enough hours in a day for you to do all your work before going to sleep. That's just how it is.
Anyone have any differing opinions? Has anyone not pulled an all-nighter and been fine?